Welcome to Jump Shots from the Goal Line. I am Jonathan Dugan. I am back this week. I know that my boy Henny and Ben held it down for me while I was on the IR, but I am back. All three of us are here. John was just in Tahoe for a freaking week. Ben went 80% on his picks last week. Things are happening. Boys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome to this week. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. I know John is. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm a Chargers fan. It's probably well documented on the pod, but in case you didn't know, so I'm still kind of going through it right now. Obviously a tough one tonight. Tahoe's great, though. Tahoe's great. Also, just so you know, like all of California's on fire. So partly my time in Tahoe was spent just trying to breathe. So I don't know. Everything's on fire. Everywhere I go, everything's on fire. So I don't know. Just make it that of what you will. But game was rough. I'm sure we'll get into it. But that's where my current state is. Great vacation. Came back, watched a game that kind of kicked me in the gut.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now I know we're obviously Instagram buckaroos, buddy old pals. I saw you were doing some kayaking out there. What's the kayaking like in Tahoe? I think you came across a certain beach that you probably shouldn't have been gandering upon, right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah. So the kayaking's awesome. Like really smooth water there, really easy to get around. Like even if you don't know what you're doing and you suck, you can kayak there. But beautiful, clear water. So definitely like worth getting out there and getting on the water. And then yes, there is what is known as Secret Cove. So should you decide to take that descent and that hike, you can see some. I mean, honestly, you're going to see some dudes' dicks. That's really what you're going to see. There's really no other way to put it. If that's what you're into, you're more than welcome to go down there. My brother did say there was a topless young lady, probably a young 65, from my understanding. I really didn't get into the weeds as far as the beach goes, but sure. I kind of just stood on kind of the rocks overhead, so kind of a creep. But really was just trying to see the beautiful water. Really wasn't there to check out. Most people are honestly there and clothed and whatever, but it is optional.
Wow. Okay. Nice. 65, right in her prime.
That was my understanding.
People that love being naked.
You just don't give a shit at that point. You know what I mean? You've lived your life. You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. If you ever think you're going to a nude beach and you're going to get what you want, you're not.
Are you trying to tell me it's not like Euro Trip?
Yeah, I don't think it is like Euro Trip, which is like, again, like, can we talk about how good? I mean, we could just do this forever. The 2000s comedy. Are they ever going to make funny movies again? Ever? I mean, that's a whole different night. No. It's a whole different night, and we can do that. I mean, that's what summer's for. We have football, but it drives me nuts.
Yeah, Ben missed out on our early 2000s comedy draft, and I'm sure that he probably would have had some great picks for it.
I have a ton of strong opinions on everything, but I think the real downfall was Adam Sandler started being a serious actor. That's the problem.
He's more 90s anyway, isn't he? That's what I would classify.
I think it was like 2002.
Mr. Deeds is also objectively one of his worst comedies.
I don't know. You got Crazy Eyed Steve Buscemi.
I did like Old Crazy Eyes.
Hey, speaking of Steve Buscemi, it's September 15th. 9/11 was just here. That's such a cool ass story that he like gave up acting for a while and was like helping with the 9/11 like relief effort. Like homie became a firefighter again. Can we just put some shine on that? That's actually super cool.
Yeah, he's Old Crazy Eyes. He did the 9/11 stuff. And then he's that great meme. What's up, fellow kids? I mean, what hasn't he done?
Also very good in Boardwalk Empire. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
People sleep on.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, very good.
Very well-rounded actor. Like, if we're going to be honest,
Yeah, does he have he might even, I don't know, he's in Fargo. I don't know if he won an award, but they probably gave him one.
Should have. I mean, he's great in everything he's in, so awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had fun in Tahoe, dude. I know you came home to an interesting game, right? The Chargers did, in fact, pull a Chargers. It seemed like, at least to me, and I'm sure Ben, you'll chime in too, like they looked good, like 75% of the game. And then like the second half, middle way through the third quarter, I think that's when it happened. Herbert throws that pick six, the 99-yard pick six, and then proceeds to like break 3 ribs. I just John, you've been a Chargers fan your whole life. Does this pretty much encapsulate exactly what it means to be a Chargers fan?
Yes, it was not like that. I mean, well, like yes and no, because like yes, just like generally speaking, yes, but no, in that it wasn't like it wasn't anything weird, and it wasn't really like the way you expected. Like Herbert Herbert doesn't make mistakes like that. So and honestly, we can talk about that play, and I'm going to put this all on Everett. Like I wouldn't even dare put it on my baby boy Herbert. I saw that lazy ass route by Everett, and he came back and played, and I'm not going to throw the guy out for the season, but if this was Madden, he'd be shit canned immediately. You ever run a route like that on my field? But that part was kind of really rough. And I also think honestly, like I don't know, how closely you guys watched it, but I also thought we got a really bum whistle in a lot of ways. Like Mahomes was way sloppier than Herbert was. He threw basically 3 interceptions, none of which counted. One, I don't know, kind of like a 50-50 on whether you call it a catch. A couple other flags, one for like an illegal contact, which is like 20 yards away from where he threw the ball. So to me, Mahomes actually looked careless and kind of sloppier than anything the Chargers did. So it was kind of a weird one. Like, I mean, yes, it was heartbreaking. So it was tailor fitted for the Chargers. But I also thought we looked like the better team. We looked more polished. We looked under control most of the game. And then it's just kind of one weird play and then a bunch of weird whistles. Because, I mean, honestly, every time they showed Mike Williams going down the field, he's absolutely getting manhandled everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they only throw the flag when we catch the touchdown. So, yeah. I don't know. I think Goodell and Bezos got what they wanted. Rigged.
Yeah, I think so. Not having Keenan Allen there, I think that was a big thing for you guys, too.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, I think we look good, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Let me ask you, though, does it kind of like chap your ass a little bit, though, that like the Chiefs did get worse this offseason, losing Tyreek. You guys definitely got better this offseason, adding like Khalil Mack, JC Jackson played tonight. You guys for sure got better where they got worse, and like you still take the L. Does that? I'm not trying to be like a jackass right now, but like,
no, I know. And also it's okay to goat me too if you want.
But. Yeah, like does that kind of chap your ass a little bit that they're still like they still got your number?
Well, they don't have our number. That's the thing. We won the last 2 times we were there. So like if we split the series with them like we typically do, whatever. Like the Chiefs do not scare me. It doesn't bother me any more than like big picture in terms of what happens with the Chiefs. And like I have no more like to me, Mahomes looked scared tonight and threw the ball and sprayed it around. And every time he did that, the NFL stepped in. That's what I saw. So I'm able to move past this one quite quickly. Like, and I'm definitely seeing this through the fans' eyes. And, if you like call me crazy, whatever, I don't give a shit. But like in reality, like I know Mahomes was running for his life a lot more than Herbert was tonight. I know we're a lot better when Keenan Allen's back. And I liked what we saw from the defense. The one deep ball they did hit on tonight was on JC Jackson. That's his first game. He hadn't played yet this year. He got beat on.
If we're gonna be real.
He got beat on one. He gets coming off of surgery. Like I'm not that concerned. It's week 2. Now, what I am concerned about is like making sure Justin Herbert's healthy. I mean, like that is a huge concern to me. Yeah. But no, I'm not really worried about all those pieces. Like because like really like the Chiefs have more long-term continuity. Like they lost Tyreek Hill, and that's like the big name. But like they have more long-term continuity in terms of their head coach. A premier superstar tight end, quarterback, those things and that cohesive stuff together. So the Chargers still building, still growing. So no, I mean, I'm not like extra hurt over it. Just the normal amount of, fandom.
Yeah. I mean, if you take away like the 52-yard rush that Edwards-Helaire had, he only has like 20 something yards rushing. You take away the big deep bomb that Mahomes had to Watson, he's under 200 yards. So, I mean, I agree with you for sure. Like I think it was just one of those unlucky nights where things just went right for the Chiefs. And unfortunately for you guys, like, things happened. And I think it is fair to say that you guys are probably the better team, like without having Keenan Allen there, like Herbert still goes for 334, 3 touchdowns. Need more from Eckler. You need more than 2.8 yards per carry, but like, I'm sure that'll happen.
Well,
yeah, I'd like to see the guard. Yeah, go ahead, Ben. No, hop in, please.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, that backdoor cover was brutal. I mean, like, and they say good teams win, great teams cover. If that means anything, the Chargers are the great team that played today. So
Thank you, Ben.
I'm
Thank you.
here to help you.
Plus, I mean, honestly,
Really
right?
good.
Highlight of the night, Derwin just splitting
Oh, man.
Kelsey in half, right? Like
Dude,
Derwin James,
low
if there's any
man
questions about whether that guy should get paid or not. And that's like one too, where like, okay, can we talk about this? You know what annoyed me more than almost anything during the game? Like, yes, obviously, there's a bad taste in my mouth as I could see where this game was going, and all the Charger feelings started to come back, dude. I like Herb Street, generally speaking, and this may ultimately pan out. I thought he sucked tonight. I thought he was not good. I know it's like brand new with him and Michaels, but like that was not working for me.
I watched it without the audio because I have a wife that doesn't want me to watch football games.
He's the voice of college football, not pro football, and I think that's really where there's like this cognizant, like there's this like cognizant. There's like I can't speak right now. Jesus Christ, it doesn't work to have a pro guy with a college guy, and like that's something that I think kind of plays into that. And like,
which is weird though, dude. You would think though, like with Herb Street being able to like really bring home. I mean, the dude covers the NFL draft every year, so he knows these players that's so well.
It's he and Fowler have this like really, really, really good connection and like chemistry because they've been doing like the primetime games for like a decade plus. It's his first time with a new partner, and I mean that's got to play into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of people liked him too. I mean, like I don't think like everybody like it wasn't like it was a landslide on Twitter like Herbie's. Like this is my personal. I just like thought he was like bland, boring. Like Herb Street like elevates a college football game. And like you said, maybe Ben, it's to your point. It's like the voice you're used to. Maybe it's because you only hear him in that one game a week or whatever. Like it was Thursday night and it was like they scored and it was like Herbie gave us nothing. And like, granted, the NFL generally feels like more emotionless than college football, which is why probably, you know, like some of us love college football so much. But I don't know. It just felt very vanilla, not great. I have questions about his eyes. I don't know what he was seeing a lot of times where he's like, clearly this is what happened. And I'm like, dude, we have 13 angles in this game.
Well,
like, that's not what happened.
Yeah, he's used to only 2 angles in college. And half the time he's talking, you have a fight song from the band playing as he's talking through a highlight. Like that's
exactly
you're used to. You're not used to the difference of like, I mean, granted, Arrowhead is loud, but it's not the same.
Here's though. Like Herbie's so used to doing things like that have to do with like watching film that maybe live action stuff just isn't his jam. You know what I mean? Like you have to I feel like the best broadcasters bring a lot of energy and they bring they almost dictate how you react to things, right? Like we've watched a lot of like shitty Big Ten games, you know, but you still get hyped up for like the big completion because the announcer is able to kind of bring the energy for you. And maybe Herbie's just not used to doing that.
Like, so
it was rough.
You're used to Al Michaels being play-by-play and then Collinsworth being color commentary. And then you're used to Fowler being like, they're just a different kind of color commentary there. Like it just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I think it'll get better. I mean,
that's what I think too. I think it'll get better. Well, yeah, I think it'll get better. So
I can't stand Tony Romo. So I'm like, I'm good with anything other than that. I hated the fact it was on Amazon Prime. I shouldn't have to get into an app on my TV to be able to watch the game.
I know. And then I was, did you, Ben, were you ever tempted to flip over? Because I know you weren't doing audio, Dugan, so I guess it wouldn't matter for you. But they also had, what are those YouTube, who are those? I'm going to sound like so old right now, but the kids know. What are, dude perfect? Like, dude perfect?
Oh,
like, there's
the worst.
Like, like they have their own cast of it. Like, who is watching that? Like, what kind of loser? Kids. Jeez.
That's I really that's them, like, literally, like, their response to, like, the Manning cast. Seriously?
Yeah, like you could. So I could either do. So it was like pretty typical. It was like the national broadcast, then like in Spanish, which makes perfect sense. And then it was like, or dude, perfect. I'm like, what? And then there was like a stat centric one, which obviously like that's fine if you're like an analytics guy or whatever and you want to see a bunch of statistics, cool. But yeah, the Dude Perfect one, I guess I need to like maybe that's what I'll do next Thursday. I wanted to hear Herbie and see how that went, and I really wasn't vibing with it. So maybe Dude Perfect, you're up.
Oh, please no.
Yeah.
Just chucking frisbees around.
One last thing on this game, and it isn't even about this game. This has just bothered me for a long time, and I've never vocalized it. Can we get Pat Mahomes like a different sized helmet? It seems too small and too big at the same time. I don't. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I
was more offended by Edwards-Hilaire's helmet. And this is like definitely a running conversation in a couple other chats I have with some friends where we're just always criticizing helmets. Like no one's happy with there's too many helmet options and
good. Like Justin Herbert's helmet makes sense. It fits him. Like it's like gigantic on like the forehead, but it's like small everywhere. I don't know, dude.
I'll take a look.
Take a look.
Hey.
Check the tape. And it's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at a picture of Pat Mahomes right now, and I think it's just like it's the forehead part of it. Like,
yeah,
it looks totally fine until it gets to his forehead, and then there's like 7 inches of helmet above his head.
It's like he has a 5 head, but he doesn't. He just has a fro, and it's like the fro is like collapsible under the helmet, so it doesn't make sense unless he's. Has he ever had a concussion? We ever checked this? Because that could be part of it. Maybe the fro and the helmet combine for ultimate concussion protection.
I mean, he does have pretty big hair, so
tell the truth.
Could be could be a thing for sure. And I did just send you guys actually something on Twitter where it shows the Gerald Everett thing, and I guess he had like receptions, like back-to-back receptions. Again, I don't remember this part.
Yeah, he's like
7 and 26 yards, and they didn't take him out of the game.
No, and they just ran. So I mean, that's what I mean. We can criticize. Yes, I mean that's definitely something to be talked about too. Like it definitely was after, and that's why he just stood there and picked up his mouthpiece, which is like the most depressing. But you know what I'm saying? Like as a high school, if you're watching that in film, like you're literally lighting up that guy in front of the entire team, regardless of what. But you're right. Like there's also a part of this to just say, hey, dude, you're going full speed, and yes, like we could have put someone else in. That's 100% what happened.
Man, I bet you're missing Jared Cook right now, aren't you?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like I wasn't in love with Jared Cook. Like these guys are just like right. There's only. I mean, I will say Mike Williams obviously looked really good, and then they started throwing double teams on him, which is why like Keenan Allen needs to come back. And I mean, it is kind of funny though. Everybody's like, "Oh, Mike Williams." I'm like, Mike Williams get paid $20 million. He better damn well be catching some balls.
By the way, he just looks so tall.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're manhandling. I cannot believe the amount of like pass interference they get away with, defensive holding, whatever, legal contact on Mike Williams because he's like not fast enough to separate from anybody. So they just kill him all the way up the field. And then at the point of attack, he just wins. I mean, it's pretty impressive the way he plays, but it's ridiculous the way he's called. Man, it drives me insane.
He looked great though, So.
He did. Yeah, he played great. But for $20 million, you should. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm happy. But, like, also, like, people surprised. Like, oh, Michael. I'm like, well, dude, we gave him $20 million. I hope he can make some catches. Shit.
The only other thing I will say about the announcers, if they want to make a splash and they want to get eyeballs, what they should have done is instead of giving Kirk Herbstreit the bag, they should have given it to Pat McAfee.
He is the best.
Like, if Pat McAfee was, like, announcing, like, Thursday night football games, I guarantee their viewership would go through the roof.
But
I think they had a deal on the table, but he dropped out because of a tank top clause.
Old people hate Pat McAfee. But if you're going to be streaming the games, old people wouldn't have been able to figure that out. It's the perfect platform for him.
Dude, if I tried to get my parents to watch Thursday night football, I guarantee they wouldn't be able to figure it out. Like, I would tell my dad, you click the biggest picture on the screen because they have a Fire Stick. And I guarantee my 84-year-old dad would not be able to figure it out.
He's that's ageism.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you how stupid I am. That was the biggest picture on the screen. I still came home, put on YouTube TV and tried to get to like where it should be, like on the NFL Network.
I
And was
did
like,
that too. I was like, NFL Network?
And then,
I'm like, wait.
like, I'm such a trained.
I'm like, ESPN? No, NBC?
There were stop signs everywhere. I blew through them all. Yeah.
Well, John, you're approaching 40 here soon, so
Fair enough.
I guess that's just what's coming with the turf. All right, cool. Well,
yeah. So start calling. If you can start calling me before the game starts.
Yeah, we've talked about the freaking Chargers game enough. Like, right? At the end of the day, all I'll say about the Chargers, and John, hopefully you like this, but I think they're still going to be a very, very good team. This was a good test, and I think it's better to get the Chiefs loss out of the way earlier in the season so that you guys can beat them in LA later on in the season. And if there's any kind of tiebreaker scenario, you guys have the tiebreaker, right? Like, take your lumps early, figure out what you need to change early on in the season, and that way you're better for it down the road. That's all I would say.
Yep. Either we're all right or the Cardinals are really, really terrible.
God, Cardinals, holy shit, man. We've got a few friends that listen to this show that are Cardinals fans, and I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I wrote a whole article that Cliff Kingsbury shouldn't be a head coach, and I stand by it. Holy hell, that man is the worst. He cannot coach one bit. So
that was it was definitely a rough go week one. I can tell you that much. That looked like a very lifeless team. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you want to keep we can just start ripping through the NFL if you want. I got a lot of opinions, but I don't know where you want to take us next.
Yeah, let's get to college. We'll go college because the games are gonna be here first, and then we'll go NFL. Obviously, Ben, you said you went 80% last week. Is that a real fact?
It is. My worst game though. I had 2 picks in on the Wisconsin game, and that one kind of botched my other parlays, but. I had a nail biter in the Duke Northwestern under, which was an electric moment. If anybody didn't watch it, they were down, and I couldn't have any more points. And with less than a minute to go, Northwestern drove the length of the field and then fumbled at the 1 yard line, and Duke recovered to prevent the over from hitting. And I went from screaming to happy crying as that happened. That was awesome. But yeah,
then how many cigarettes did you smoke during that game?
None. It was on during the Penn State game, and I'm sitting here and I'm flipping back and forth and just kind of enjoying the slate and all that stuff. But it's there were too many good games happening in that first window. I was kind of having a hard time managing the TV. I'm a professional, so I could do it. But I'm bouncing between Alabama, Texas, Northwestern, Duke, and then I'm over at Penn State watching their freshmen just do ridiculous stuff, and then I'm hopping over to the Wisconsin game, and I was all over the place. But it was a good weekend. Yeah, 80%, man. It was awesome. I was super pumped about that one.
So really all you missed out on then was the Washington State-Wisconsin game?
And then the Alabama one as well. That one wasn't great.
Oh, yeah. You guys were saying...
We were heavy on it, but hear me out.
Yeah.
When has Texas ever been good? They looked good.
Yeah, they did.
And then, you know what?
Without their quarterback,
they look really good. And that's part of the problem. You get these, both teams play bad teams week one, and then week two they do something against a real team, and it's you don't know what's going to happen. I think that was a really bad game for Alabama, but Texas looked really, really good. And I still stand by
let's dissect that a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Let's dissect that a little bit, though.
The idea that let me just crank this out. The idea that Alabama is that much better than every other team, even the marquee programs, I'm still looking back at it, even with hindsight, I probably would still have placed the same bet. There's no way I could have logically been Alabama won't blow the shit out of these guys, because they always win by 40 in the first round of the 4 seed that pops into the playoffs. They kill them. So I don't know. I felt good about that one.
No, yeah. I mean, I get it. But let's dissect it a little bit too, though, right? Because, I think you're totally right that, the prepackaged idea that, Alabama's just going to come through and kind of, kick the shit out of everybody. I don't think they're as good as we thought they were, right? And, I think any sensible person going into college football season, I know we interviewed, Braden Gall, we interviewed Chris Gordy. They had nothing but good things to say about the SEC and specifically Alabama. But Alabama lost a lot of firepower, right? Like they lost their starting tight end to Texas. They lost both their starting receivers, who Jamison Williams was incredible. John Mechie was very good when he was healthy. Yes, they still have Bryce Young, which he looked good, even though he definitely, by the way, that was a safety. That was the most bullshit call I've seen in a while. The most like Nick Saban, black magic death grip on the NCAA I've ever witnessed. Like how they went to the camera, decided, hey, you know what? It's not roughing the passer, but it's also it's not a safety. It's an incomplete pass. And by the way, it's not intentional grounding either, even though there's nobody near him. Like I could not believe that. But like I think it's safe to say I don't think Texas is like super, super good. I'm not saying they hung around because they're really good. I just don't think Alabama is going to be as good as people thought they were. I think Georgia still is probably far and away the best team in the country. Do you guys think that?
I think the receivers is the big part of it, to your point. Because, like, if you look at it, like, the last, 4 years, like, they would lose a lot of people, but then it was like, oh, they lost, Jerry Jeudy, but here comes, Jalen Waddle. And then it's like, oh, now here comes Mechie, like, they've kind of been cranking these dudes out at a high level, and maybe they just, they said it on the broadcast, it's like they don't have somebody who can take the top off the defense. So it's a little bit easier, I guess, to beat them. I mean, to me, like, I know Georgia hasn't really done anything yet to like be like they're the absolute best, but I'm like, what I saw off of that, I'm gonna be the guy who hammers Georgia in that matchup and then probably lose money. But yeah, it seems like there's something missing from the Alabama offense this year.
Yeah, you're on it, Dugan. I think I had paused after week one when Alabama kind of didn't dominate the way they typically do in a week one, to the point where I just gave hesitation. But I think ultimately I kind of landed where Ben kind of alluded to of like, well, like who's the fool that bets against Alabama? I kind of just was, it was a stay away situation for me because I thought there were still some questions about Bama. I think, yeah, Georgia looks like the team. I think Bama obviously has proven that they have some problems, and hey man, maybe like Nick Saban's going to be around, and maybe we are starting to see some cracks in this thing, and maybe it does start to open up for some other groups. And as we know, Oklahoma and Texas are coming soon. That starts to get real interesting real fast. If that's the case, and Bama is in fact, I mean, even if it's a 2-loss year, if that's what it means in a down year, maybe it's still a 1-loss year and they just lose in the playoff. But if you can't go ahead and just chalk them up as a national championship every other year, then this is a very different thing we're looking at in college football because they've been that dominant.
Yeah, I think you're both right, boys. So outside of that, guys, I mean, what other games kind of shined for y'all? Like, obviously, I watched
Florida game. That one was sick.
That was good, right? I think Kentucky did a really good job of containing Anthony Richardson, keeping him in the pocket, making him throw the ball. Kentucky also has like probably the most athletic pair of linebackers in the SEC, according to a lot of guys I follow on Twitter. And that was kind of the secret sauce for them. And then Will Levis, he's good. I think it's safe to say.
Win. Yeah, and it's funny. Kentucky used to be such a joke, man, and they're good now. I don't know how to process it.
They have the good Stoops brother, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
You got to just get one good Stoop, and yeah, no, it was. I was pumped about that one because I everybody was fading me that I was like watching games with. They took Florida either money line or against the spread, and I had Kentucky as the dog against the spread, and I wish I had enough balls to take a money line on that one. But that was a great game.
I'm surprised you didn't have the balls to take Kentucky against Florida because Kentucky's been kind of a real bugaboo for Florida the last few seasons. Like just like historically, they've really had their number.
I don't know what it is about early on, but like I think I'm like by week 4 or 5, I'm going to start firing on some of these and I have some of them picked out in my head of like, all right, this matchup I want the money line dog. But until I've seen them in conference play against, same sort of caliber athlete, I usually will stick with the points against the spread for the dog. But I wish I had thought of it because I had a great gambling weekend and I could have been up like an extra couple of units by doing that.
Yep, opportunities lost, bro. Hopefully you make up for it this week. What about you, John? Did you watch like any other games catch your eye besides like obviously I know you and I watched the shitty Arizona game, but anything else?
Yeah, I was a lot of a bits and pieces guy last Saturday. So I think, kind of all the games that Ben's touched on so far. And I think when we talked about, when me and Ben had talked about Kentucky, we said the exact same thing. Kentucky's been a bugaboo. But I also said, they also haven't seen Anthony Richardson. So I might have cost Ben some money. There's a lot of these things but I really was like pretty Pac-12 heavy last week. So unless you want to jump into, I watched some bad Arizona State football for my brother who was, hanging around with me. Then I watched some bad Arizona football, and we did that just for me.
Can we do the swan song for Scott Frost real quick?
Oh yeah,
we should talk about that.
What are we doing? Holy hell!
That plenty of lulls to be had there.
Gosh, I was at a bar that apparently moonlights as a Nebraska bar, and to see
You're in Tucson?
Yeah. I had no idea, and I didn't realize when I went, and then I'm looking in like the side room, and there's like 60 plus, like middle to old age white folks who are wearing like the red and white pinstriped overalls. There were people wearing the corn hats. And I immediately live bet Georgia Southern at the half. And just to watch their faces was amazing. Oh, that was probably the highlight of the weekend for me, was watching them shuffle out with like 30 seconds left. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I love it.
And every single one of them couldn't log into their Amazon account tonight.
That was great. They literally were like, we can't wait 2 weeks to save $7.5 million. He has to go right now.
I mean, I don't really blame him, dude. Like, he's been so bad the entire time he's been there.
It's crazy. He blew his dream job. He's what? Like, he's a young dude. He's like 46 maybe. I don't know. I'm ballparking based off of just looking at him. But
I think younger even.
He landed his dream job too young, and he blew it. He'll no matter how good he is at other stops down the road, he can't go back to Nebraska.
No,
he'll be run out of town.
But who do they get? Because they've done the alum thing, right? That was obviously a failure, and Scott Frost. They've done like the pull from Bill Callahan. So that's like the NFL guy, and that blew up. So now we have to go with like
Urban
random
Meyer.
College retread.
Urban Meyer put his hand down overalls, dude. They're too restrictive.
Ooh. Oh my god. Hey, I'm gonna call it right now, John. You said
Rich Rock.
No, he's living life at Louisiana Lafayette. You said you can't go NFL, all right, and you said you can't go retread. How about a guy that's worked in the NFL, but has also been at a million places in college football? You know who I'm going with? Jed Fish.
No, but they should get
Jed Fish.
No, they're not going to get Jed Fish.
What if they did, though, dude? Like, what if Arizona wins 6 games this year, has another top 30 recruiting class? You're telling me Nebraska won't interview him? He'll interview the shit out
Nebraska,
of that job, let me tell you.
If Jed Fish can win 6 games and parlay that into a Nebraska job, and he actually thinks that's an improvement, good for him. And if Nebraska thinks that Jed Fish is going to be the savior of their program, also probably good for them. No, I can't. I don't know. I think that's a pretty big jump. I think you got to see a little more than that. Like, there's no way Nebraska can. I don't know what they're going to end up with, but I mean, honestly, I think they should just get Rich Rod.
Who the hell is going to go to Nebraska? Like, this is what I don't get. Nebraska has not been relevant in 40 years.
And they fire you pretty quickly, with the exception of Scott Frost.
They're the Auburn of the Big Ten, right? Like, isn't that what Chris Gordy said? Like, Auburn is the type of school that, like, they think they're so much better than they are. And, like, as soon as a coach has, like, a losing season or two, they can his ass, like, right away because they think that they're this big-name program, even though they haven't been relevant for years. Like, isn't Nebraska the Auburn of the Big Ten?
I mean, it seems pretty accurate to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know, Ben. Maybe you know, but like, I don't know how. Like, if there's wild, like, because Auburn's just like freaking wild, right? And like Nebraska generally feels still like they're wild, like as far as like their fan base and wanting to fire their coach, but I don't know. They still seem.
I think it's skewed because they did give Scott Frost 5 years, and like that was, and it was like every time you're like, all right, this just isn't working. It's time. And it's like, well, one more. And I'm like, I appreciated like the Steelers approach to it, if you will, that they took, shout out. But I don't know, man. Like they're not. How do you get a college kid to want to go to Lincoln, Nebraska?
That's what I'm saying. Dude,
you
especially
can't
nowadays with the NIL and everything.
I don't know. That corn video is pretty hot on TikTok. Yeah,
guys, I don't get the hype with that. I do not get the hype with that video.
I don't either. But this interim head coach better capitalize.
It's just the coach doing that video. They get that kid on like the official visits as like the guest star. USC has Snoop Dogg. Nebraska has Corn Kid.
I think that's where we're at. I mean, I really do think it's going to be. I think they're going to end up with a retread, man. Like I just don't. I can't imagine anybody being excited to take that job, and I think they're screwed. But Scott Frost, like to your point, it's been there a long time. This has been bad for a long time with Scott Frost, and like I love that they kind of gave him the Lane Kiffin tarmac treatment. Like, no, this is done now.
John, awesome. Let's bring him home, bro. Let's bring a little bit of the Cajun South up to Nebraska. Coach O, bro. He needs a home.
There we go, man. Dude. And it really is just like slap. Just give me a character there, man. Like Bielema not happy at Illinois, go to Nebraska. Like whatever. Just give me something that fits. Man, freaking Nebraska. Dude, growing up watching Nebraska and Tommy Frazier and Scott Frost and Eric Crouch, and I was like, that was just an absolute wagon of a program that just rolled on everybody. It's crazy how far they've fallen.
Yep. Dude, it's because people don't want to go play in Nebraska. I don't blame them. I don't want to go to freaking Nebraska. Hell no.
The people used to. They got to start giving away better cars or something.
I guess, dude. I don't know. Well, let's hit on a couple more of the games from last week, just because there were some really good ones. Marshall beating Notre Dame, like whoa.
Fun belt, baby. Fun belt.
Hey, I did say, right? I had no idea who the quarterback in Notre Dame is, and now I don't have to because he's out for the season. So, you know what?
We were spot on Notre Dame, Dugan. Our coverage of Notre Dame was perfect. We never mentioned the quarterback's name. We never were able to get it right. And that's just because we're committed to greatness.
We also said we didn't really know anybody who was on Notre Dame at this point. And you know what? Maybe they don't have anybody good because they're 0-2.
We nailed it.
You guys better, if this is your first time listening to the pod, y'all better just stay on this train because John and I are right a lot. Ben's over here getting 80% on his test during a week. Like, hey, y'all are going to get some knowledge on this podcast, all right? The other upset, Texas A&M, right? Losing to App State. Now, I know, Henny, we chose the wrong damn week to do the Appalachian Accelerator, bro.
I know. Heartbreak. I absolutely. Look, App State, we love you. And, we still ride with the Appalachian Mountains and the Appalachian Trail, whatever we're talking about. But yeah, of course they get it done. I love that they got it done. That's what I'm saying. Hey, me and Dugan might burn your money, but we're definitely almost right a lot.
I will say this though: if we would have done the Appalachian Accelerator this week, Kansas did whoop ass on West Virginia. Can we talk about that real quick? Kansas looks good.
They won by 13 in overtime. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, what the hell? 55 points out of Kansas? What in the hell, dude? It wasn't a year ago that Kansas was absolute dog shit. And now all of a sudden they're a wagon? Like, what is going on in Kansas, bro? I don't get it. Or maybe West Virginia is just that bad. Maybe we were just really wrong about West Virginia.
The emotional letdown.
I will give a shout out.
Losing to Pitt, Like, maybe some of that's from that.
I will give a shout out to Josh Neighbors, though, because Henny and I, admittedly, he talked a lot of great stuff on Kansas, and we both walked away from that interview like, Kansas? Like, the hell is this guy talking about? And you know what? He was right.
He was. I rolled my eyes so back in my head when he was talking about Kansas. Like, I was like, look, man, like, this is a podcast that, like, will be annoyed with Kansas basketball, but we are not giving any love to Kansas football. That's unnecessary. Their shining moment is Aqib Talib, who is now forever probably not to be seen on football because his brother got a little wild at a child's football game, which, you know, Aqib. Why would Aqib just be standing? That's a whole other thing. Anyways, yeah, I could shout out Josh Neighbors because there's no way I could ever see Kansas winning a football game, period. And they did.
So shout out to Kansas. There's some good games last week, but let's jump into this week, right? Like, there's no point in dwelling in the past unless you're Ben and you hit 80%. I don't blame you for wanting to look at the past. But we got some really good games coming up, guys. First and foremost, let's take a look at it. We have Oklahoma and Nebraska if we want to just stay on the Nebraska train. Ben, I think we both played this one, didn't we? I know I did.
Yeah, dude. This is like, I don't anticipate Nebraska all of a sudden being like, we need to win one for Scott Frost's reputation. No, they're donezo. Take Oklahoma with the spread.
I will say, though, that the spread has come down a little bit.
Yeah,
I got it at 11.5. Now it's at 10.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's at 10.5, which I'm kind of like, shit, I should have waited to place my bet because I think for sure Oklahoma's going to beat that ass because I think it wasn't a matter of fact of like Scott Frost just sucking at coaching. I just don't think Nebraska has a lot of talent, right? Like Casey Thompson, like, never really did anything at Texas, and everybody wants to talk about how great of a quarterback he is, but he never really did anything. So I don't see any way that Oklahoma doesn't win by a couple touchdowns for sure. So I took the spread on that one as well, but at 11.5. John, do you have any thoughts on this game?
No, I'm with you guys. I think it's just like we have a proven commodity in Oklahoma, and we just talked about what a disaster Nebraska is, and it just seems like a low number.
The next game we're going to take a look at, and the only reason I'm even mentioning this game is because I know Ben has an absurd bet on it, is Connecticut, UConn at Michigan. Ben, you took the spread with Michigan, didn't you?
I did. It's the JJ McCarthy era, baby. I'm at
47.5.
I got it at 47, so I might get a push here. I don't know. Michigan's looks really, really good. You know, we're done with like Harbaugh's biblical Solomon decision on his quarterbacks. Like, I'm liking this one. I think Michigan goes out, stomps them in like their last real, tune up before they get into the conference play stuff. They probably won't cover. A line that big, Vegas wants you to take UConn. They know something. I'm not falling for it. I'm taking Michigan with minus 47.
Well, you know who the coach of UConn is, right?
It was the old guy they had.
It's Jim Mora.
Yeah.
Jim Mora, dude. Like I don't think UConn's good at all, but like
they looked good against
he's not a bad coach.
But Utah State got crushed by Alabama, who we just said was bad. So in theory, UConn is below all of these teams. Michigan looks pretty good.
Well, here's the thing, right? So
I'll tell you.
The over-under is 60.5. So if they have the spread at minus 47.5, they're thinking that UConn ain't going to score really at all, and Michigan is going to run up the score then. So do you think UConn probably won't score at all? I mean, the Michigan defense looks pretty solid, right?
It's going to be 10-59. Exact score.
Okay. Giving yourself a 49-point cushion, which that works with the 47. So I like your strategy, and I could see that happening. John, any thoughts?
Those Michigan over-unders have been fun to play. There's been like tantalizing numbers. What I do know is Michigan has not played anybody in their out-of-conference schedule whatsoever. So the tune-ups look nice, and I have no idea what to think about Michigan when it comes time for them to actually play football.
Yeah, it's true. Who they played? They played UConn, Hawaii. They're playing UConn, Hawaii, and Colorado State, right? So objectively, 3 of the worst teams in the country right now.
That's my understanding. Unless you're, I mean, I know you spoke highly of Jim Mora, but remember, this is the junior, not playoffs.
Yeah, dude.
Or
you're right, but Jim Mora did coach at UCLA. He wasn't great. I remember us.
And the Falcons team. Like, wasn't he Michael Vick's head coach at some point? And now he's at UConn. So that's going well.
His life is going great, so that's fine.
Hang in there, Scott Frost.
Yeah, exactly, Scott. You might be coaching. Hey, who knows? Maybe he'll be coaching Lamar Jackson one day. I don't know. Anyway, the next game that we want to take a look at, I did not play this one. Georgia at South Carolina. All I want to say about that game is Spencer Rattler is probably going to get his shit pushed in by Georgia. And I think we can all agree on that, right?
Georgia minus 24.5. It's happening. It's pushed.
Yeah. Shit is being pushed. Do you agree, Henny?
I can't see how it's not. I have no faith in Spencer Rattler.
No, I don't blame you. Cool. I don't want to spend too much on that game because the next game we're going to take a look at, I know that a certain somebody on this podcast will probably spend the next 30 minutes talking about because this time last year, he was listening to this exact game in Happy Valley while my wedding was going on. I was, like speaking sweet nothings to my wife, and he had an earbud in, listening to a game. So it's Penn State at Auburn. What do we think?
Let me clarify.
Hey, Henny, let me get your thoughts first, right?
I took the AirPods out during the ceremony. All right, I did not leave them in because I realized that's an asshole move. I took them out.
Well, that's you're probably right, Ben, but that's not the narrative I've been pushing.
All right, Ben. Just give us your thoughts.
I don't love the line on it, but I if I don't take Penn State against the spread, what am I doing?
-3.
Yeah, I mean,
is that what you got it at?
Yeah, it hasn't moved like at all. I think if Penn State can stop Auburn from running, they should win, and I think they can. Okay. But then again, we haven't really seen a great running back, believe it or not, facing off against Purdue and Ohio. So I'm not entirely sure what to think. This is one
Auburn's
of those ones.
Got who? Tank Bigsby?
Tank Bigsby, baby. Good. Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. Yeah. But Penn State's, they're not going to be able to pass on Penn State. They wouldn't have been able to pass on Penn State, even if Penn State's secondary wasn't as good as it is. But I think if you watch the game at all last week, Nick Singleton, Penn State's 5-star running back, averaged 10.7 yards a carry, which was insane. It looks like there's actually some balance to this offense finally, and I have to take my team. I'm not going to talk for 30 minutes about it because I've talked about Penn State quite a bit, but if they stop the run, Auburn won't score. Penn State should be able to score, hopefully.
Yeah, -3. I mean, I could see that happening for sure.
It might void on me, but whatever. I mean, if they win, I'll be happy. If they lose, I'll be crushed, regardless of my bet. So,
very, very true. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say I gotta chime in just because this is a game I will watch because it's just like one of those games from like a uniform standpoint. It's Big Ten, SEC, like that's fun. So everybody will be on this game. Everybody will be paying attention to it. And then I will say I really enjoy watching Joey Porter Jr. and I really regretted not being able to get my Joey Porter's story out last time. I met Joey Porter once per se. I was at a Circle K in Chandler after he had signed with the Cardinals. Late night doing whatever. Can't tell you anything I was picking up was healthy or a smart decision or whatever I was up to. But Joey Porter walks in. I'm like, oh, that's Joey Porter. He says, what's up? Grabs 2 of the biggest 4 Locos out of the cooler, checks out, gets into his black SUV and drives off. And that's what I know about Joey Porter. So I guess I'm taking Penn State.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I think you'd have to. I mean, if a guy's father was a wrecking ball for the Steelers, and then when he comes to Arizona, buys 2 4 Locos, which back then when he was playing for the Cardinals, they were probably still unregulated. So Joey Porter likes to have a good time. Ex facto, this game is going to be a good time for Penn State. Is my logic adding up?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you want to listen to anybody who's given any thought to this at all, listen to Ben. If you're an idiot, we're probably with Ben anyways.
If you want gambler's brain, just remember Joey Porter Jr.'s dad drinks 2 Four Locos to have a good time, so the guy knows how to party. Therefore, his son knows how to party, and he's going to party down in Auburn. Is that correct, Ben?
Oh yeah. They're gonna
cool.
They're gonna throw toilet.
I'm not touching this game.
You know, whatever they fucking do down in degenerate, middle of nowhere, Alabama.
There's no way I would touch this game.
No,
There's no way
I'm
I
not
would touch
touching
this game. This is classic Auburn. Like, this is a terrifying game.
I hate to see
this is a game you just watch.
By the way, I took Penn State first half spread and then the first half under at your wedding. So again, 3 for 3, kind of maybe on the weddings thing. If we're counting my
this one is at 12:30 as well, isn't it? Okay,
3:30 Eastern. You know, lest we forget. But no, I like this one. I like this a good. Fuck
nice.
It, ride with it.
Okay. The next game, I do want to talk about this one because I have it as part of one of my parlays, is BYU at Oregon. BYU coming off a massive upset of Baylor. Oregon not looking great because Bo Nix is their quarterback. Both of you guys were big Bo fans. Week 1, he got his shit pushed in. Dugan called it. He has not looked good. Oregon hasn't looked good. I have on this game, I just took the over on the points because I think both teams are going to score a lot, even though I don't think Bo Nix is good. I just don't think BYU's defense is like super, super solid. And it's still Oregon. They still have athletes. But I also think BYU can put up points because their quarterback is 27 years old and he looks pretty good.
I didn't touch this one. I'll probably put the over just for fun, but I didn't touch this one.
It's only 57.5. That's not that high.
It's a lot of points for a 26-year-old knees, you know?
It's true. Isn't this the same quarterback, guys, by the way, that like almost got kicked out of BYU because he had premarital sex?
Joking. That's slander as well.
Isn't that a thing?
I don't know. I thought that was like a power forward in 1998. So
I feel like that kind of story pops up every couple of years at BYU. So I'm probably right.
For sure.
So what are you thinking, John? I mean, the spread is 3.5.
I like this one from an overplay, and I do think this is one where, you know, if you finally feel like dancing on a money line, I mean, there's a little extra value in it. Like, to me, it's a coin toss game. Like, the points, I mean, obviously can end up mattering because that's what Vegas does to you. They torture your soul. But I think it's an interesting one, right? I mean, BYU's look good. Oregon's look bad. I definitely like there to be points, and BYU seemingly has been the better team. They definitely have a better resume.
Yep, I agree with you. I took the over for sure. Ben, you said you'll probably end up taking the over eventually.
I don't know. Probably.
This is coming from a guy that's going to bet a freaking Penn State Auburn game, and you can't put money on an over with these two teams. That's the worst
thing on my slate as I look at it. Like I am a degenerate, and it's sad to look at it.
All right, so the next game I want to go over is Texas Tech at NC State. Texas Tech beat Houston last week, so that was a big win for them. Real quick, I do want to point out the fans rushed the field for that game and took the field goal post down. They beat Houston, who's not even in the Big 12 yet. That was kind of weird for me. Is that okay to feel that way?
What would Bob Knight think?
True. It's true. Poor Dana Holgorsen.
He's a real Red Raider.
I got strong opinions.
Yeah, you're right.
On fans rushing the field. I don't think it's acceptable unless it's a top 10 team and you're the dog. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or if you haven't won in like 20 years, but like, this cannot be. Texas Tech beating Houston is not objectively. No one should be on the field.
Weirdo behavior. And before we go any further, do not even start with John and I about rushing the field, because all you have to do is mention the Oregon game against Arizona, and I will erupt. Okay, so please don't mention that ever
Well,
again.
I'll stop at just Ohio State has no class, and they act like they're not concerned about Penn State, but they rush the field when they beat us. So whatever.
Yeah. So looking at this game, though, right? I didn't touch this one, but it is intriguing to me. It is NC State -10. I feel like after watching NC State not cover against ECU, this might be a Texas Tech play. I don't know how you guys feel. I know, right? That was week one. Like, it's tough to overreact to a week one game, but I feel like 10 points is a lot in a game where NC State does have a good defense, but Texas Tech has looked pretty good the first couple of weeks. The over-under is 56. If you were to touch this game, I don't know, Ben, do you have this one on any of your slate?
I do not. I would probably take the under.
Okay. What about you, John?
I just think, I think you just have to ask yourself, can Texas Tech rebound after such an emotional victory over Houston? So I think you have to take that into consideration. And I also think there's something to NC State where, like, a lot of, like, right, they had a lot of pressure on them. It was the first week. Like, we all talk smack about them. So you just kind of like I just feel like they're going to kind of write that. And, like, maybe they just – it's like one that scares me, or if anything, I kind of have an NC State lean just because, all right, Texas Tech did their thing. They kind of got their hype, and now NC State, they survived. So maybe they can breathe and just play.
Yeah. Okay. I like where you're going with that one. The next game, I know, Ben, you for sure have this one on your slate. Michigan State at Washington. What were your thoughts on that game?
This is my money line dog of the week. Neither team has played anybody. Nobody knows anything really about either of these teams. And I don't look at Michael Penix as the savior here. Like, he was a pretty bad quarterback last year.
Dude, he was awful at Indiana.
It was bad. Like, and they're like, dude, Michael Penix has made Washington look great. And, like, yeah, 2 bullshit cupcake games. Like, I'm taking.
They played Portland, and they played, like, who else? Like a no-name team.
Yeah, the directional South Harmon Institute of A&M Aggies. I don't know. Like, both of these teams have played nobody. I'm taking Michigan State to win this one because there's value in it as the money line dog. I'm not taking the points. I think they win outright.
I am shocked that Washington is favored in this game. Like, that is insane to me because, like, Michigan State, yes, like, going to Washington and, like, Husky Stadium is huge and objectively, like, kind of a harder place to play. But Michigan State was good last year, like, and they didn't lose, like, a bunch of talent.
They lost Kenneth Walker, and, like, obviously that was a big part of their offense. But they still have Peyton Thorne, another one of the 6-year super senior quarterbacks in the Big Ten, who's a hell of a lot.
And
better.
they added Jarek Broussard from Colorado.
And they're better. He's better than fucking Michael Penix. Like,
yeah,
just like, I'm taking moneyline Michigan State all day on this one.
This might be the easiest moneymaker of the week, right? Like, if we're going to put our stamp of approval on any game this week, and John, if you want to tap in on this one, I think Michigan State moneyline plus 135. I would throw, $50 on that and just make some money. What do you guys think?
I think Ben had me at South Harmon Institute of Technology as accepted reference.
Like that.
Like, once you started, you bailed out halfway through, but I know what you're thinking, and you're still trying to play you're trying to. There's like a metaverse or like a subtext to this where you're like subtweeting us, and you're actually putting in all you're like, I will give you my list of favorite movies from the 2000s. I see what you're doing, Ben. You're playing chess, my man. You're playing chess, right? And I'm watching you. I am watching you. I knew we were gonna get there. I'm so happy we did, and I'm so happy we did. But yeah, you know what? For the wieners, Michigan State.
Justin Long was really good in that movie, by the way. Just saying.
Once, didn't even like.
You met him once?
So off topic.
Hold on? Are we just doing all these celebrity like meet and greets today, or what?
I don't know, dude. Tell me he was drinking Four Locos.
Four Locos, but so this was like peak of Breaking Bad, and Aaron Paul was filming a movie in Pittsburgh with Amanda Seyfried. I don't know if they ever even released it. But Justin Long was dating Amanda Seyfried at the time, and like Aaron Paul like tweets out like, "Hey Pittsburgh, come drink with me," and I got to the bar in 7 minutes because I had literally like refreshed my Twitter feed, and Aaron Paul was blacked out, and like I could barely get words out of my mouth trying to talk to him, and like Amanda Seyfried sitting there, and then Justin Long sitting there, and like I don't even like look at him, but weird night, very weird night, and then 45 people tried rushing the door to get in, and he had to sneak out like the back alley exit. It was pretty cool.
Man, I feel like a real goon. I don't feel like I've met anybody cool like you guys have. Well, you guys objectively both didn't even meet both of these people.
Well, I didn't meet Justin Long as much as I tried to buy Aaron Paul a shot, and he said he was too fucked up. So,
man, good on him. Yeah, responsible.
Joey Porter already had drinks. So
Joey Porter was going to go get fucked up, so it's okay.
They shot me in death.
Oh, geez. All right, cool. All right, Michigan State. If you guys are listening still out there, I know we're at an hour, but hammer home Michigan State. Other games that I want to highlight really quick. The last two, Miami at Texas A&M. I believe I took the over on the points on this one. I believe so. And I think it even dropped since I placed it. Let me see.
They killed me last week. Actually,
holy hell.
That's my only other loss from last week was Miami. They won by 23, and I needed them to have 25.5. But I like the over on this one.
I took the over when it was at 48.5, and it's down to 44.5 now.
What happened?
Like, if you guys know, like, look, I don't comment a lot on this stuff because, like, I'm not the best gambler in the world. Ask my wife. I think I am, but she likes to point out my L's like any good wife does. 44.5 points is nothing for these two teams. Like, granted,
that's a big
Texas A&M's quarterback. Texas A&M's quarterback is awful. And I would not be surprised if they change quarterbacks if he has one bad drive and they go out and actually score points. And then Van Dyke for Miami is a really good quarterback. So that also seems like free money. And also Miami is plus 185. A&M's looked awful. So a couple layups in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
I like the over. They both didn't look very good last week.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I know a ton about this one, but I kind of trust you, and I definitely like that. I mean, that is, like Ben said, it's a Big Ten number.
Yeah, 44.5 for an ACC team and an SEC team. Like, granted, again, A&M's quarterback has been abysmal. Like, I think he had like 70 yards passing last week, and he got blitzed 3 times. Like, real bad.
He's an athlete, but
real bad. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, dude, that's really low. So cool. The last game we're going to look at for this week would be Fresno State at USC. That's a game, guys, where there's a few things. So the over-under 73.5, which you might be thinking, that's a shit ton of points. But what I will tell you is Jake Haener, the quarterback from Fresno State, is a beast. He's a dog. He's very, very good. And then Caleb Williams is also very, very good. So I am actually tempted, and I never thought I would say this with a line that big, I'm tempted to say the over. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to go with the spread, USC minus 12.5. Even with Haener being really, really good, I still think USC wins by at least a couple touchdowns. Is that where you're kind of looking at, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if you can get USC under 2 touchdowns on this, I think that's a safe bet.
Under 2 touchdowns?
No, what I'm saying is like the line. Say the line moves to 14.5. That's where you start getting into dangerous territory. I got it at 13 a little bit after you, so I wouldn't be surprised if the line keeps moving that way, especially because the lines typically move the most on like Friday nights and Saturday mornings. Like that line.
Yeah, place your bets early.
Well, it's probably going to be north of like 14.5 by the time it kicks, but that over is a little too high for my comfort. I'd rather do the USC against the spread as long as it's the right number.
Yeah. Perfect. I know that we didn't get to. You said you had 18.
I got
games on your slate. Was there anything we missed?
Well, I'm not going to touch on all of these, or I can just rip through them real quick. But
just give me some that you think we should have covered.
I really like the Syracuse over 59. Syracuse's quarterback looks unbelievable. If you haven't watched a Syracuse Orangemen football game yet this year, you are missing out. Like, this guy's going to have some serious draft hype. He's been the number 1 rated quarterback by Pro Football Focus through weeks 1 and 2 of the season. He is really, really, really damn good. I don't love the spread, but I trust that they're going to drop points, and they covered the over easily last week for me. I'm taking Syracuse over 59. Old Dominion, I got this at plus 10.5. The line is moving the opposite direction, so I apologize depending on what you end up getting here. But Old Dominion has looked really good this year. And I regret everything about my original week 1 Virginia Tech pick. Old Dominion plus 10.5 against Virginia. Those are my 2 juicy ones. Wake just got their quarterback as well. So sorry, here's my third one. Wake Forest just got their quarterback back, and that's 10.5 against the spread right now.
Nice. Yeah, he looked pretty good last week too. So I'll give you just 2 more. I have Kansas State minus 15.5 against Tulane. They look really good. Their running back's insane. And then I have Maryland minus 3.5 against SMU. It's at Maryland. I know that Maryland has a tendency to let us down, that Tagovailoa obviously can have a real shit game every now and then. 3.5 is just too small of a number for me not to hit the spread for Maryland there. So, John, do you have any games that we missed maybe?
No, not really. It's this. I'll say this slate doesn't seem as interesting to me just from a viewer standpoint, but I thought week 2 couldn't live up to week 1, and week 2 was freaking awesome. Like my phone is blowing up. And so I was trying to scramble the TVs everywhere I was going to catch it here. I'm in an airport, I'm in a casino, I'm in this. And so I'm bouncing around trying to catch as much as I can, get in as much as I can. And to just keep watching, you never get disappointed. Mm-hmm. So no, nothing jumps out, but certainly something will come Saturday.
I do have 2 other ones that I think are just juicy, and Kansas plus 9.5 was what I got it. I think it's down to 8 now. They've been putting up, obviously we talked about it, and then Big Ten unders. This will scare you a little bit. Iowa under 39.5. Hold on to that one, dude. That is you're reaching dangerous territory once you're below the 40s. But they can't score. They can't score.
Yeah, I love it.
39.5.
I don't know, Ben. Seems like a pretty safe bet.
The only one that's
it seems like a safe bet to me.
Yeah, Iowa under is fun. Yeah.
Shit, dude, let it get below 30. Let it ride.
Probably still wouldn't hit. I mean,
yeah.
You won't. Yeah, you're not even gonna sweat.
We're talking about a team that they won 7-6.
They punted
and didn't score a touchdown
this year than they have points scored. That is a real stat. Iowa is the only team in the country who has more punts than points scored through 2 weeks.
Let's go Kirk Ferentz, baby. His son is the O coordinator too, by the way, just so everybody knows.
Jesus, so bad.
Well, he's there for life, dude. He's got a lifetime contract.
The family's there for life.
They do everything the Steelers do.
I hate it.
All right. So let's jump into the NFL real quick. I know, Ben, you haven't placed any of your NFL bets yet. Knowing you, I know you will place some NFL bets. Henny, I know that you also probably will as well. So let's go down the gamut really quick. The first game I'm looking at is Miami at Baltimore. Vegas has it at the over-under at 44.5. It has the Ravens favorited minus 185. And the spread is at plus 3.5. So pretty even game. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was going to take anything, I am going to take a Miami money line.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know. And I know I probably sound like a really shitty Ravens fan right now.
There's value in it.
Here's the thing, boys. here's the thing, boys. Marlon Humphrey came down with a groin injury today. Marcus,
Dude, tell me if you heard that before.
Marcus Peters is. Yeah, I know. Marcus Peters is potentially coming back today. Brandon Stevens, who was our third string corner, also got a groin injury today because Harbaugh's practices just are notoriously hardcore. And then
But
Ronnie Stanley is. Yeah.
That's how I judge my practices.
That's the only way.
Ronnie Stanley is still out, right? And Miami absolutely manhandled Baltimore last year. I don't know if J.K. Dobbins is going to play. He did practice in full. But for me, this is too tough of a game, right? With your corners banged up like that, having to play a team that has Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, like, I just don't think the Ravens have the dogs to do it. I'll be happy if they do, obviously. The spread is too low for me to really mess with. The over-under, you might play with that because 44.5 points isn't a lot. But the money line is too sweet of a play not to play it. I would take Miami plus 150. You guys have any thoughts?
I might same game Miami money line with the over.
Mm-hmm. That's a good play.
That is that's a low number, but I mean, like they don't like that's the thing. No one believes Tua can score still, even with all those weapons. I mean, that's like really the story here. It is like from a storyline standpoint, Vegas still doesn't believe Tua can score, even with all those injuries and with all those weapons you just mentioned. And Baltimore still got to figure it out with just a quarterback, with a banged up bunch of guys, and they still haven't decided whether or not they even want to pay the man.
So where are you leaning?
Declare yourself.
I mean, I think there is value in the Dolphins money line, but like, the Ravens are at home, so like if they end up pulling it out, and winning, like I don't believe in Tua. Like I would have a hard time placing this bet. I'd probably be a stay away.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next game, Jets at Browns. We're looking at the over-under of 39.5. We have the Browns favored at minus 275 with a spread of minus 6.5. I think it is no secret that we will probably take the spread for the Browns, 6.5. The Jets looked like absolute dog shit last week against the Ravens in New York, well, New Jersey, I guess you could say. The Browns obviously do not have their rapist at quarterback, but Brissett didn't look half bad, right? And they can run the ball. Nick Chubb is really, really good. The Jets could not stop a nosebleed in the run game last year. And granted, they played pretty well against the Ravens with the run, but that's also a team that was missing a lot of people on the offensive line, was playing a bunch of guys that were, garbage bin type players at the running back position. Nick Chubb's a beast. I'm going to take the spread minus 6.5. What are you guys thinking?
You got to do the spread on that one. I mean, you can't in good conscience take Jets money line.
No.
And I can't take the Jets as the dog against the spread either. And I don't trust the over-under. That's probably a fair assessment on the minus 6.5 for the Browns. Jacob Brisket.
Yeah.
He's serviceable.
Yep, Jacob Brisket. That's right.
He looked so bad. I thought he looked terrible.
They won.
He looked so bad. Like, I mean, it's like I can't believe, like, that is the hardest part and the most shocking part of, like, I realized that I watched the NFL to just, like, basically shit post NFL quarterbacks. Like, I turn it on and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so sick. This is the best of the best. And then I watched Jacoby Brissett just, like, throw a ball so far behind a guy he has to, like, almost break his back falling over to catch a wide open ball in the flat. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Jesus, like, what are we doing? I can't. There's no way I could bet on the Jets or Browns. There's no way. Like, I don't trust anything here. Saleh's in full defense mode. Like, he already knows he's going to get fired. And the Browns have Jacoby Brissett, and they're the Browns. Like, they're. This would also be a state. Like, this is no way. Not even with my kid's savings account could I
The
bet on this
Browns
game.
run the shit out of the ball, though.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that makes me lean.
They're not
spread,
gonna leave it in Jacob Briskett's hands.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Browns are a better team. I mean, I think the Browns should win this game, and the Browns are going to be 2-0, and we're going to have to talk
dude,
about
that Jets offensive line is pretty terrible too, and the Browns have some pretty decent pass rushers. So Myles Garrett's going to feast. That's all I'm going to say. Godspeed to Joe Flacco. Lord help you. Like, it's going to be a long day. Let's go to the next game. We have the Commanders at the Lions. It's the Grit Bowl of America. The Lions are actually favorited in this game, minus 125. Over under set at 48.5. Spread is leaning at 1.5, or minus 1.5. Wow, are we really thinking the Lions in this game, boys? Is that a thing? Because I don't trust Jared Goff one freaking bit.
Do you trust Carson Wentz?
I trust him more than Jared Goff.
Dude, I don't know. I mean,
Keep shit posting these quarterbacks, boys. No, this is like, you're like, the Lions' offensive line looked good. They ran the ball, so this should be the same logic that applies to like Browns Jets, I guess. And then you're like, I guess it's the Lions, and they're at home. But Jared Goff,
Dude, he's so bad.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, but Wentz
so,
at least had what? Like, what do you have last week? Like 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? Like,
Wentz looked good last week.
He should. He was a first round pick. He should look semi.
Yeah, well, so was Jared Goff. He was the number 1 overall pick, and he was awful.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, I don't know. Like, these quarterbacks suck. I want Dan Campbell to win a game. Let's get Dan Campbell a W.
Yeah, we eating dubs with Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
dude, he's gonna cry tears of happiness.
If I had to spend money, I'd probably spend it on the Lions. But I would, again, I'm just keeping my money.
Dude.
There's no way of touching this game either, because I don't even want to watch. I don't want to watch I do want to watch. He's like, I want to watch the pick six and laugh. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna take anything, I'm gonna go money line. Commanders 105. I just think their D line is really good. I think Wentz is not a good quarterback, but he's better than Jared Goff. They have a better receiving core. Yeah. I wish that Brian Robinson didn't get shot in the leg, but alas,
he's practicing again.
He is, dude.
He's the world's fastest recovery from getting shot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, good for him. No, I'm gonna take Commanders money line, but I'm with you, John. Like, God bless it. I don't feel good about this game one bit. So, Colts at Jags. Before you think, let's just put all our money on the Colts. Vegas has it pretty close. It is the Colts is a favorite at minus 185, over under set at 45, and the spread is set at minus 3.5 for the Colts. These games are always close. AFC South sucks. They are the only division that does not have a win. We had 2 ties and 2 losses. Excuse me. Colts didn't look great, and they have Matt Ryan, who, let's be real, boys, he's not that good anymore. Jags have Trevor Lawrence, who also does not look nearly as good as people thought he was going to look. Travis Etienne looked good, though. And the Jags have some guys, but I guess it just comes down to if you think Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over the Jags. This is a tough read for me. I'm not going to lie. My heart wants to say, or I shouldn't say my heart, my brain wants to say the Colts, but knowing it's the AFC South, my heart wants to say Jags money line at plus 150. What are you guys thinking?
Man, Trevor Lawrence is a bust.
He's not good, huh?
No.
He's not. I watched him. He has every bit of Matt Ryan's arm once they get in that red zone. You're like, this is just never going to happen. These teams are going to kick field goals so much
Taking the
on
under.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
It might be the under.
Play.
Like, that might be like that. Like, that might be like Jacksonville looks so inept inside the red zone, and Matt Ryan hates touchdowns.
Yeah.
He hates them with a passion.
You're right. But Jonathan Taylor's good as shit.
So,
though.
I mean, Yeah, and that's why. But I mean, I don't know. And then I still have some faith in the fact that like Jacksonville's going to like sort of rebound a little bit because like they can't be like Urban Meyer bad, and that like something in the arm talent of Trevor Lawrence is going to show up at some point. Etienne, one of these guys offensively, is going to help them out, but I think this is just like, yeah, like where do you feel on the over under? And it feels like a lot of field goals to me.
Okay. You've convinced me. Yeah, we're taking the under on this game. 45 is a lot of points, right? Like,
yeah,
for those two guys.
Hey, really quick. I don't mean to interrupt. I just got a notification. Aggies are benching Haynes King. Max Johnson is going to start versus Miami. Take the over. I know what I'm doing, boys.
A&M is gig 'em.
Gig 'em, boys. Gig 'em. Let's go. Take that over. Hey, seriously, take the over because that's going to change right now. I guarantee the points are going to go up. So place your bets early. That's all I'm saying. All right, yeah. I think we all agree, right, Ben? Like, were you swinging on this game? Are you hitting the under too?
My NFL betting is all dependent on if I have a good Saturday, but if I have a good Saturday, I'll take the under. Okay.
Next game, one near and dear to all of our hearts. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints. It's the Jameis Winston revenge game. I'm going to take the Saints plus 120 money line because they had the Buccaneers number last year, and Tom Brady is going through a lot of marital issues. Allegedly. And I just don't think the focus is there, boys.
Allegedly. Or he's going to win Giselle back by being the 8th-time Super Bowl champion.
Could be.
How many quarterbacks have won back their supermodel wife by beating Jameis Winston? Man. You just get, it's like a tale as old as time.
It's very true. Real quick, the
Jameis, baby. I'm taking Saints too. I like the
Saints are plus 120. The over-under set at 44.5, which that might do. The over might be a play too. They're going to blow past that, I think.
Dude, it was responsible Jameis last week. No turnovers. Like, I mean, not really the Jameis I want to watch, but I mean, what
he looked great in the fourth quarter.
He got his eyes fixed.
Yeah. Looked great in the fourth quarter, dude. He went from having like 100 yards passing to all of a sudden he just blew through the freaking wall, man. Like, and of course the Falcons falconed. They're up by a good amount and then end up losing. So there's that. The spread is at minus 2.5. So Vegas is thinking that a field goal will do it. But yeah, I think, dude, plus 120 all day, right? Money line play. Is that what we're thinking then?
Yeah, they're
at home, dude, and they had their number last year.
If you don't feel comfortable, take a couple points with you. You know, whatever.
All right. I think we're all on the same page, right? We're riding the Jameis train.
Yeah, you have to.
Hell yeah. All right, next game, Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants. We have the money line minus 130 for the Giants. We have the over-under set at 43.5. And then we have the spread at minus 2 for the Giants. I would hit the under on this game 400 times over because these teams both freaking stink.
Saquon's back. What do you mean?
Saquon did look really good last week. You're right. This is like the fantasy darlings bowl of America, where like both the running backs have been like fantasy 1 and 2 for 4 years straight or 3 years straight, whatever.
And then they get hurt.
They haven't amounted to shit after week 6. But I would still take the under because Baker's terrible. Daniel Jones is awful. Both teams are just going to key on the run and hope for the quarterbacks to do something, and they're not going to. Am I dumb for thinking that?
I would probably take the Giants money line on this one.
Minus 130.
Yeah, I don't have the same negative reaction to NFL money lines if they're in the minus 150 or below. But I don't really trust them to cover anything, and I don't really like the Panthers a whole lot. Over-unders, Vegas always screws me over on NFL ones, so probably if I'm firing on it, I'm probably the Giants money line and just hope for Saquon to continue his revenge tour.
Brian Dable did look like he gave them a little bit more confidence. I will say that. So he looked good.
They came back.
They did come back. Big win against the Titans, right? So I guess There is some
Titans
truth
are better
to that.
than the Panthers.
The Panthers. No, you're right.
Couple more first round pick quarterbacks that everybody believes in.
God. Yeah, this is like the shit quarterback bowl of America as well, because like you have 3 of them: Sam Darnold, who, good lord; Baker Mayfield, good lord; and Daniel Jones, who just. Am I wrong in saying this? That Daniel Jones, and I'm so sorry if this like offends anybody. Daniel Jones looks like the slow cousin of Eli Manning. Like he's got a learning disability. And but he's definitely like in the same family. Maybe he's inbred. I'm not sure. But he definitely looks like he's in the same family, and I think that's why the Giants draft.
He's a cousin from West Virginia.
Am I off base with that?
No. He's a cousin from West Virginia.
I'm just gonna like yeah, I think I'm just gonna like try to help you with a different story. We were at this restaurant in Tahoe, and the young man's clearly special needs in my mind. I used to work with special needs kids. I'm pretty used to seeing this. Comes to clear our plates. He's working as a busser. And my girl just goes like, "Is he French?" He wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
God damn it. Oh my God. What did you say?
I said no. I said no. He's like clearly not for like no I'm.
What else do you say to that?
I can explain this to you, but it's not really the time or the like I just kind of like I'm like look man we all hey everybody misregisters from time to time, it's all good, like it's honest mistake, but no, it's like such a random like stray for the French to take,
That's awesome.
Man, I don't even know what to say to that. All right, on to the next game so we can move on. Patriots at Steelers. We have this is the Ben Crownover special. We have the Steelers at plus 110. No. We have the over-under set at 40.5 and the spread at -2. Both these teams, the Steelers beat the Bengals, first of all. Their defense looks incredible. Well, I know, but their defense does look incredible. Granted, it's going to be without TJ Watt for like 6 weeks. Yeah. Mac Jones looks really bad, like really bad. That team looks very listless. Doesn't look like they have much of a plan. Trubisky didn't look good, but he looked like he could at least he looked like he could at least do some things. Like he didn't look terrible. Najee's a little beat up. I would still take Steelers plus 10. I hate the Steelers. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I'm taking the under, dude. They're going to be a bad team. By the way, the fact that Najee Harris is not like getting his leg re-sewn back onto his body, that was one of the most gruesome slow-mos I've seen.
He might play this week.
But that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, that's that orphan energy that he's got. He's just a beast. But
God,
dude, I don't know, dude. I'm taking the under. I'm not. The Steelers are going to be bad without TJ Watt. He is the engine that drives that defense, and they have good players, but they're not.
Should we just be betting the league under?
I mean, half the quarterbacks are so bad.
Like we hate. Yeah, I was like, we hate every quarterback except for Jameis and Tom Brady so far.
Teams, and there's like 6 that are good. Like 6 quarterbacks that you can actually trust to win a game. What happened to the NFL?
It's true. Yep, you're right. I mean, both these quarterbacks looked pretty bad. Like I still think Trubisky didn't look so bad that like Kenny Pickett needs to come in right away.
Yeah, but the O-line
he looked. Well, the O-line has sucked for 3 years in Pittsburgh.
I know, but like without the defense being there to like 100% guarantee that they're gonna like be in the game, which is really the only way that they survived with decrepit old Ben. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm sad. I'm just sad in general. Can we move on? I don't like talking about it.
Tell TJ Watt to hit up good old Uncle Ray Lewis and get some deer antler spray. He'll be right as rain in 2 weeks.
Like Ray Lewis, or are you talking something else? Oh, you were talking something else.
No, I was talking about the deer antler spray.
Not
the
the
other
two
controversy
that Ray Lewis killed. Okay, sorry.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Must be a different Ray Lewis. I'm not familiar. Anyway, yeah. So that it's funny that you mentioned that because we're actually going Atlanta Falcons, LA Rams. So Atlanta, coming up twice in 5 seconds. So that's great. This one has the Rams at -500. Over under set at 46.5. Spread set at -10. Dude, the Falcons freaking suck. Like, how do you not go? Oh my God. Like, it's got to be the spread. I would go the over, like 46.5 as well. Like, the Rams are going to freaking steamroll this team. That's right. Like, that's what I would say.
You got this all wrong, dude. You are so wrong, and I hate to tell you this, but the play on this game is Matt Stafford over 1.5 rushing yards.
Here we go. We knew it was coming, right? Right, Henning? We knew it was coming.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I know. I'm like, man, he's really like into the Falcons. Like, he's like a Mariota truther. Like, that's fine. Like, that's weird, but okay. No, we should have seen it coming. Absolutely blindsided by Stafford's speed.
He got 2
yards, falls forward.
Let's go.
I do like getting 10. Hey, I do like getting 10 points in the NFL though. So like the Rams didn't look great. Like they kind of look like they got some stuff to work out. You get 10 points in the NFL. It's not bad. So I don't know. That's what the NFL is tough, man. It always is tough. Like it really is like a gut thing. And I don't know. If you give me 10 points to the Falcons, if I'm gonna bet this game, I might actually land on that side of it.
You're going.
And then I could be
You're going
totally
Falcons
wrong.
plus 10?
Yeah, if I had to bet this game, and again, this is probably another game where I'm like, no, the NFL, I'll end up betting 3 games because like all of these games are like torturous because it's what you do. You go, this quarterback sucks, and I don't know enough yet. There's not enough data early in the season, it feels like. But if you're getting 10 points, and I don't know, I mean, does anybody think the Rams looked really good last week?
I mean, yeah, they can't really run the ball, but the Falcons don't have anybody to stop them from running the ball either. They have Grady Jarrett, but like the rest of their defenses, that's bad. I mean, AJ Terrell's good, but that's about it. All right, we've spent enough on this game. I think we're kind of all over the place with it. I was going to bet the over on that game because I think the Rams are going to score a lot.
I like that.
The Rams are going to score a lot.
I like that.
I could see the Falcons putting up at least a couple tutties, but I think the Rams are going to score 30 plus. Let's move on to the next one. Seahawks, who played the game of America this week and pulled one out for everybody involved. They're heading out.
Stand up 12.
Let's go 12s. We were all 12s on Monday. Were we not?
I wasn't. I had the Broncos
right.
in the Survivor pool. 30 in a row out with one.
You took.
Oh man, and
I hate it. Dude, I hate it.
You took that weirdo.
Man,
you took the guy that was literally practicing handshakes coming out of the tunnel with nobody.
Before I knew that was going to happen.
Man, you are.
You got Gino. Oh no,
Gino looked great.
Amazing. He looked amazing.
We had West Virginia Gino for one night and one night only.
Game of his life, dude.
If you'd never watched football before and you asked me which one was like the better quarterback, you honestly would probably say Gino, though, right? Like he looked better in that game.
Russ didn't do anything, dude. Like he was so average.
Oh, his coach wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Oh please! I swear to God, that narrative is so stupid.
That's late. Yeah, that's late in the game. That's Broncos fans hanging so dearly. Like they're just like, let's blame the coach. Like this is definitely not a really stupid contract.
And let's be real. Like, are we even going to pay attention to anything that happened late in that game? Like the Broncos should have absolutely obliterated the Seahawks. Like the Seahawks are not good. They don't have anybody. They have DK and Tyler. Tyler, what's his name? Freaking somebody save me right now. I'm having a brain fart. Tyler Lockett. Like, yeah.
Lockett.
Like that's all they have. That is it, right? Even their run game didn't look great the other night. Like, dude, like the Seahawks are probably arguably the worst team in the league. And the Broncos should have absolutely dog walked them, and they just didn't, So this game, though, they have the Niners at minus 450, so heavy favorites. Over under set at 41.5. And then the spread at minus 8.5. I would actually take the under on this game, to be honest with you. The Niners looked like they were pretty dog shit as well. Trey Lance did not look good. Granted, he was playing in a monsoon in Chicago, but he did not look good at all. I think they missed Mike McDaniel a lot with the run game and everything. And then they just lost their starting running back as well. I think both these teams just are not good. I think it's an NFC West shithousery game of the week. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. What do you guys think?
I think the Niners scored 10 points, and they're still favored by 8.5 over a team that won. That's just like where people's faith are with Shanahan. So, I think, I don't know if it's true or not. We'll find out. But I think, that rain, had a lot to do with what happened. And I think we're going to see a little more out of the Niners this Sunday. Whether that means covering 8.5, I don't know.
Is Kittle back?
Kittle's not back. No, Kittle's still questionable. And you're right. That's a big problem.
Trey Lance is not good. So, all right. Next game, Bengals at Cowboys. Bengals favored at minus 350. Over under set at 41.5. Spread is at 7.5. I would take the spread on this. I think the Cowboys are absolute ass. No Dak. They're going to try to run the ball a lot. I just think the Bengals, they didn't look good week 1, but I think they're going to steamroll the Cowboys.
You don't trust Ben DiNucci?
Love the Bengals in this.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in Ben DiNucci. I don't think he's even on the team anymore, is he?
Cooper Rush? What are they doing?
Who is their quarterback?
Isn't it? I don't even know what they're doing.
Cooper Rush.
Anymore?
Ben DiNucci got released.
Is it the Notre Dame kid?
I'm not betting it in protest of it not being Ben DiNucci.
Well, 7.5.
No, you just got to bet the Bengals. Yeah, on DraftKings it's only 7.
Not a lot.
I mean, at worst you're pushing
not
on this.
a lot. So
it should have been Ben.
Bengals going to light them up. Joe Burrow's going to come back.
Cowboys are pretty bad. Yeah, well, it's not. All right. All right. Next game, Texans at Broncos. Speaking of Russ, Mr. What is his nickname, John?
Unlimited.
Mr. what?
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Good Lord. What a cornball.
Yeah.
Anyways, Broncos are favored.
Yeah. He just loves those unlimited apps. He just sits at Applebee's and just
Broncos
gets apps.
are favored at minus 500. Over under set at 46. The spread is set at minus 10 Broncos. Dude, no way. The Texans actually didn't look that bad last week. They have easily, their quarterback has the biggest neck in the league, and he's going to use it this week, all right?
Mike Glennon.
The Broncos are not.
Mike Glennon had a very long neck. I'm not saying on that.
He did,
team,
but Davis Mills, bro.
Mike Glennon.
Davis Mills
is ridiculous.
Davis Mills is half giraffe, bro. His neck is out there for sure. And Mills didn't actually look that bad. I thought he looked pretty good week 1 against the Colts. They did draw. They tied. I don't know. I think 10 points is a lot because I don't think the Texans are as bad as everybody seems to think. What do you guys think?
I agree. I would take those points. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Ben. Are we boring you?
No. The quarterback play in the NFL.
I was like,
quarterback play in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. It is literally just shut our man down. I'm with you, dude. And this is another one. So obviously early in the slate, I was like, I don't know. I like this too. I like the Texans. If you're getting 10 points, I like this better than that Falcons set I was getting. I was just saying earlier, if you get 10 in the NFL, that's just a nice thing to have. 10 points in your back pocket for those backdoor covers is a really nice thing to have. And I like it a heck of a lot better with this Texan Broncos game because I don't foresee any way the Broncos are running away. They scored 16 points.
They did not look good against a really bad team.
Yeah, so you got to show me. So I like, Houston plus 10. I like that. And honestly, if you want to get really squirrely, get plus 390 on that money line. It's as much value as you're ever going to get on an NFL game.
Give me Lovie Smith and his awesome beard. So, Awesome. Next game, Cardinals at Raiders. We got Raiders as the favorites at minus 250. The over-under set at 51.5, and the spread at 5.5 for the Raiders. Give me the under on this game. Cardinals cannot score.
If you don't bet the league under, you have to bet the league under. We've gone under on every game. We should all bet that.
It's probably
honestly.
True.
I didn't mean to cut you off. No. You can keep going, but I'm like, we've said it on
there's every game. There's two things I would bet on this. I'd either go the spread with the Raiders because I think they're going to beat the Cardinals by more than 5.5. But that under is also juicy because the Cardinals cannot score without DeAndre Hopkins. Cliff Kingsbury is going to get fired by week 6. And 51.5 is a lot of freaking points. So that's what I'm taking. There's no way I take the Cardinals money line. I think the Raiders are just far and away better. The Cardinals have a really shitty secondary. And as much as I don't believe in Derek Carr, like he still has like really good receivers. I mean, I think if you're going to ask me if you want a fantasy play of the week, I would say I would definitely go, what's his face? Their tight end, Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller is going to get like 2 touchdowns this week because their linebackers are terrible in Arizona. Yeah. So what are you guys thinking with this game?
Anytime touchdown, James Conner, and over 3.5 rushing yards for Derek Carr.
Anytime touchdown for James Conner, really? That's what you're going to go with?
Yeah, that's all he does. It's printing money.
I mean, he did score last week. You're right.
He scored that's all he does.
Yeah, he does score. The guy does get in the end zone. Like I really thought he was going to disappear off the face of the earth after he left the Steelers, and he has become like relevant on a Cardinals team that's interesting. Like I'll give him that. I definitely like the Raiders to just like win this game outright. You're not getting a lot of value if you're just going money line on it. So I'm kind of with you. Like if you're feeling confident enough to take those points, like, take them or give them away, I should say. And Cardinals just gave me nothing to like. I'm just wondering if they're going to be just monumentally bad. And like it could just be 1 week. It could be 1 week and everything could be normal this week. And all of a sudden we're looking at an 0-2 Raiders and talking about what the hell happened to them. But last week was just not inspiring. They looked
so piss poor last week. Like their defense is terrible.
It was a double XP weekend on Call of Duty.
And weirdly,
Kyler Murray was distracted.
Oh, yep. There you go. That pretty much tells you all you need to know.
I don't know if that's going to happen this weekend, right? Like that's not a thing.
It might be. I don't know. They're trying to juice up the new one coming out, so they might.
All right.
If it's a double XP weekend,
keep your eyes out.
Kyler Murray.
Keep your eyes open for that. Yep.
GoldenEye's coming back out for all you old, so that'll probably affect like Matt Ryan.
Probably Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers.
Like Matt Ryan.
Brady.
He'll be on the Switch. Yeah.
Yep. I will also be playing that because that was my jam back in the day. But
dude, that game was so sick.
All right, we got the Bears at the Packers. Packers are heavy favorites at minus 500. I think that is very egregious. Over under set at 41.5. Spread at plus or minus 10. I'm going to take the spread of plus 10 for the Bears. I just think the Packers, dude, they have no weapons anymore. Aaron Rodgers looks visibly frustrated. The Bears don't have Matt Nagy anymore. That's a plus, a huge plus. Justin Fields looked pretty decent last week, even though it was a monsoon. I just think 10 points is a lot, so I'm taking the spread. What are you guys taking?
First touchdown scorer, Lazard. That's all I'm touching on this.
Are we talking?
Yeah, it feels like
okay.
You're a
first
Lazard
touchdown for the whole game, huh?
Yeah, first touchdown the whole game.
Okay, those are always very tough bets, but I'm here for it. John, what are you thinking?
I just think it's trappy, very trappy. Like the Packers lose one of these games like in the first week or two every year. And then they come back out and they dunk on the NFC North the rest of the year. So I'm just going to have to see it for more than 1 week. So this one just feels like don't touch it. Like, yes, the Packers look bad. I don't think your eyes were lying to you. but we've also seen him flip the switch pretty quickly. Like it's classic Aaron Rodgers doing the don't panic speech at the presser, the spelling out relax, RELA. It's all of that stuff. Take your ayahuasca and chill. I think I don't know. I just wouldn't touch this one. I feel like the Packers are going to figure it out. And if they figure it out, you know, it might be by 10.
Okay.
I realize that all I really bet on in the NFL is money line dogs and stupid prop bets. So
yeah, you're definitely here just for the party favors for sure. Tennessee Titans at Buffalo Bills should be a good game, but it probably won't be. Bills favored at -450, over under set at 48.5. Bills are -10 favorites. I would probably gander to say I want to take the spread for the Bills -10. They look like an absolute wagon, and I think the Titans are pretty easy to figure out nowadays since they don't have A.J. Brown. You literally just stack the box and hope for the best and make Ryan Tannehill throw, which is never a good thing for the Titans. I can definitely see the Bills winning by a couple touchdowns. What do you boys say?
Points.
I
like 48 over under. Like I like points.
This is going to be a 42-14 game.
Yeah, it feels like just like an over, like just because the Bills are going to get you there. I just feel like the Bills are just going to, like, they look really good, and there's no reason to think they're going to score like any less than what they did last week. So if they give you 30 and Tennessee hangs around 20, you know, and just even hangs around, and if not, like it's like Ben said, it's 42-14, then I think there's a lot of ways to get to that over. So if I'm touching this one, probably the over, and hey, it's Monday night, and like what, you know, that's more fun to root for. Having said that, it'll probably be 7-3 at the half, and you hate yourself.
But then the Bills turn it on for the second half like they did last week.
Yeah, and so like sometimes it's like, you know, maybe you hit that first half under, second half over. So just something to think about how you want to attack that, because maybe Tennessee gets inspired under the lights for just a little bit before they ultimately, you know, succumb to the pressure that is the Bills.
Okay, Ben. And
that's the only bad thing is like I love Rabel, and I think he keeps shit close when it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
true.
That's why I don't want to touch that spread. That's why that makes me nervous.
Because I don't trust it would be illogical to go the other way, but I love Rabel so much. I'm like, it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Last game, guys, and then we're done. Vikings at Eagles. They have the Eagles at favorites -130. Over under set at 50.5, spread at -2. I like that over. I think both these teams can score a lot of points. Justin Jefferson looks incredible, but so does A.J. Brown. I think it's going to be a touchdown fest. 50.5 is not a whole lot of points. I could definitely see this game being both teams in the 30s. And the Vikings looked good last week, man, but so did the Eagles. Like, you know, granted, they almost did lose to the Lions, but they put up a lot of points. Like, that offense looked good. So I like the points in this game. You guys thinking the same thing?
You got to root for points on a Monday night.
Justin Jefferson and Brown, anytime scores. Parlay those two together. See what you get.
That would actually be a really fun bet. I wonder. Let's take a look real quick. Huh? How about it?
Tell me that doesn't happen.
Let's just see this really, really quick. Let's go. Touchdowns. Nope, never mind.
You know what might actually be worth it would be a Hurts anytime, because he rushes the ball enough that you might get like a plus 220 on him.
DraftKings has Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown, 300 plus receiving yards, 2 touchdowns combined, plus 1,600.
Hurts
not a bad play there.
Well, Hurts won't throw it enough. He's so bad at completing it. He'll get you.
But you got it. I know. But if Jefferson gives you 200, which that guy looked like he was pretty serious last week. So I don't know. I mean, I would say if like you can just get the anytime scores on the touchdowns, that's safe. But if you want to get real frisky, plus 1,600. I mean, you throw $5, you're making 85 on that. I mean, could it happen?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like it. Okay.
I don't hate it. I can tell you that much. I mean, it's a long way to go. 300 yards is a long way to go. But the 2 touchdowns feels very attainable.
Thing last week with Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp. and it got nowhere close on the yardage. And I think those guys are probably more
Better.
likely to have the yards than AJ Brown would with Jalen Hurts thrown to him. That's the only thing. I'm not trying to shit on the bet because I like it and like it's a fun one to bet for, but that's just so much, dude. 300 is so many yards.
Yeah.
It is. That's why I just like honestly, like safely, I genuinely believe both those guys will
Well,
score a
why don't
touchdown.
why doesn't our audience keep a eye on our Twitter handle on Monday night? And I guarantee John will be tweeting out if he gets even close to that. We'll be keeping an eye on the 300 yards. The 2 touchdowns, I'm with John. I'm not worried about that. That's a touchdown from each of them, which Justin Jefferson could do that by himself. So that's but I also tend to agree with you too, Ben. Like 300 yards is a lot of yards, right?
Yeah.
But I think both of them combined last week had over 300, didn't they? Didn't Justin Jefferson have like 170?
Yeah, like Justin Jefferson. Yeah, he went off. And Brown wasn't that far behind either. He was at 128, 134, somewhere
that
in that
one
range.
I like better than it's just Jalen Hurts, man, is the X factor in that.
Oh yeah, we're still we're in the mid-level quarterback. We're in that that mid-level
AJ Brown
with Hurts and
AJ Brown had 155 yards last week
against the Lions.
Then true. And then Justin Jefferson had 184 yards and 2 touchdowns by himself.
Yeah, against the Packers.
Against the Packers. A good team. Like
that one's
good
more
corners.
impressive, but I don't know.
It could happen, Ben.
That's
what I'm saying.
So take it.
Yeah. I wouldn't take this bet week after week after week, but if they're on a heater, if these two guys are, dead set and they're on a heater, then maybe you get a chance to ride it. Plus
$10
$1,600
bet wins you $160. Like it's good money.
That's what I'm saying. It's basically free.
I could even convince my wife to do that one, and that's a monumental task.
You've probably left a $10 bill in your clothes before and put it through the wash and forgot all about it.
That's true.
Well.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Put 100.
All right, boys. Well,
but
we got through all the games. Keep a close watch on the Jump Shots from the Goal Line Twitter, both on Saturday and Sunday. We will be tweeting out some hot fire just based on our picks and based on the action that's going around that for this weekend. Please subscribe. Please share this podcast. Please rate and like it. That means the world to us. It helps us so much reach a broader audience. And please follow us on social, right? John does an incredible job on the Twitter. I run the Instagram and the Facebook, and we have every single time we have an episode, we upload some fun stuff there. And Ben just plays along with us. So please, again, like, subscribe, and share. In the meantime, boys, do you have any parting words?
I'm good. We talked a long time.
Christ, guys.
Yeah, I was like, I think what didn't we say? I feel like we said it all. We covered. From Four Locos to we got back into the comedy scene.
French
we did
people.
it all. Man.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer fingering through overalls is difficult.
Exactly.
We touched on everything.
It's true.
That's right. I think we've all embarrassed ourselves
all I'm going to say,
today.
audience, if you're not thoroughly entertained by tonight's episode, I don't know what else we could do. So if you were entertained, though, please freaking subscribe and share this podcast. That's all I'm going to say. In the meantime, enjoy the incredible football this weekend, and we will talk to you next week. Everybody, goodbye.